And so I'm going to hand this off to Dr. Hennessy at the moment, who's going to briefly introduce new programs and talk about the flexibility of our students to create their own degrees.
Thank you, Carol. Thanks, everybody. I'm so happy to see you all here. As Carol mentioned, I'm actually pretty new to Mount A still. I mean, certainly compared to all of you. This is the middle of my third year here. So of course, some of you have much longer connections to Mount Allison than I do, but I have been here long enough to have fallen in love with the place. To me, this is, you know, I thought Acadia was good, and it is, but I'm really pleasantly surprised. Not surprised. I knew Mount Allison was great before I got here, but it's just reconfirmed that. To me, it's the best combination of all the things that I really care about. It's grounded in that liberal arts tradition. And we have great programs in arts and humanities and science and social sciences. And it combines that disciplinary or multidisciplinary deep study, so you can really get into one area or combination of areas, with disciplinary diversity and flexibility. So a breadth of experiences and learning opportunities in a range of disciplines. And then all of that combined with applied opportunities, internship, experiential learning. And the result really is students who are well-rounded, but also know how to focus and study something with depth, and then to apply all that to the real world. So I think it's a fantastic school, and we're doing really great things. Recently, we have introduced a whole pile of new programs, and we have a whole bunch more in the works. And they all, of course, still build on that liberal arts foundation, but many of them are addressing contemporary fields that students have said they're interested in, or some of you alumni have said that are things we should be going into, and that allow them to translate them into potential careers and areas of further study beyond their time at Mount Allison. Many of them are multidisciplinary or interdisciplinary. So they look at complex subjects or questions from a diversity of viewpoints, because we know that's the way that we're going to need to solve problems in the future, is by having a foundation in a number of different disciplines. And we also have a whole bunch of what are called embedded certificates. And this is something that that was new to me when I got to Mount Allison. I was pleasantly surprised. I can't take any credit for them, but I think they're a great thing. It was actually something I tried to get done at Acadia before I left, but I arrived at Mount Allison and discovered we already had these things. And these are not standalone programs. You wouldn't come here just to do one of these certificates. They're actually embedded within the degrees themselves. And what they do is basically kind of focus the elective options in the degrees. So all of our degrees, of course, have elective courses. And this mostly students can kind of choose freely amongst these different courses. But the embedded certificates allow students to combine these electives into a kind of theme. And then it results in what we call a micro-credential, a sub-degree credential in itself. So the student could put that on their CV, it's on their transcript, it's something they can take with them beyond their degree. So for example, if a student could complete a BA in international relations, for example, with a certificate in equity, diversity, and inclusion, which would be a really powerful combination to take with them when they leave, or a BSc in computer science with human resources certificate or something like that. It's really great. You can do really interesting combinations. And it kind of provides students with value added to their degree program and more credentials. And my first convocation here was virtual at Mount Allison, and I saw the students kind of walking across the virtual stage, and was really impressed by the number of different things that they were graduating with, degrees, with double majors and certificates, and it's really great. They can take all these things with them. So I'm going to start off talking about a couple of newer programs in the Faculty of Social Sciences. As Carol mentioned, Vicky St. Pierre is the acting Dean of Social Sciences this year, in addition to being the Dean of Arts. She's double deaning this year. Thank you, Vicky. And social sciences are a really important thing that we do at Mount Allison. They look at the way humans interact with each other, organize themselves, how we distribute power and responsibility, how we deal with trade and resources and scarcity, how we act and behave, how we manage and alter our physical environments to suit our living needs now and into the future, and how we create products that address needs and assign value to these. We address questions of human societies and systems of thought and systems of organization. And often this is done using qualitative or quantitative research, scientific research methods. So we have a number of social science departments: sociology, politics and international relations, geography and the environment, economics, and commerce. And we have a range of degree programs within those departments, but also combining different departments and social sciences with other departments in the university. So two of the newer programs we have, I'll just briefly introduce. One is geocomputing. And this really is self-explanatory. It's exactly what it says. It combines the study of geography with a study of computer science and really uses computerized modeling to address questions about the way humans interact with, populate, and alter the physical space. It's a very applied program with a specific skill, but within the breadth of the liberal arts foundation of the BA. And the Frank McKenna School of Politics, Philosophy, and Economics is a wonderful interdisciplinary program. It's the only one of its kind in Canada east of Montreal, and its origins are based on a similar program at the University of Oxford, but we have our own kind of Mount A spin on it. And really, if you think about it, it combines logic and ethics and the big questions and how these relate to power and how these relate to resources and trade and scarcity and how these interact and intersect to create laws and policies. So it's really a terrific pre-law program, but also a really great prep for other professional fields and further study. And because of the generous endowments within the program, there's lots of opportunities for students to pursue internships and scholarships and international experiences. It's a very we're very blessed in this program to have funds to be able to provide really great opportunities for students. So really pleased to see this program develop at Mount Allison, and it's starting to become more and more popular with students.
All right. And next we have the Faculty of Arts. Vicki, over to you.
Merci, Carole. So Dr. Hennessy, Jeff talked about what the social sciences does, what they study, how they study it. The Faculty of Arts takes a lot of those same issues and looks at it from a slightly different perspective. A lot of it is historical perspective. And what we're doing here is we're naming some of the issues and figuring out creative ways to solve some of those issues. So you're looking at a reflection of the human condition here, of how we see society and how we react to society. And we can see that through the fine arts, through music. We can see that through visual material culture. We can see it through history and the different perspectives that history grants us. So the Faculty of Arts is a place where thinkers are, and those thinkers can really contribute something pretty special to the world. And I'm going to speak about quite a few of the new programs that we have in the Faculty of Arts, and I'll start with Community Engaged Learning. This is really exciting. It's only a minor right now, but this combines community partnerships, academic learning, and critical reflection, and it transforms communities. You have students going out as part of their classes and working with partners in the community to do something special in that community. It could be working with food banks, it could be working with education, it could be working with environmental organization, nonprofits, all while critically reflecting on what you're learning and how you're learning it and how you're contributing to the community. It takes Mount Allison and it faces it outwards, and it develops these wonderful community partnerships and relationships, and is just a fantastic part of our university. Really glad to see this growing as a study. The next new program that we have is Indigenous Studies. I just went through a talk by our Indigenous Studies head, Dr. Carl Heel, and it was fantastic. It was about the Hiawatha story that's sort of owned by, that began in the Anishinaabe area of Garden River, and just absolutely fantastic. Anybody who studies in Indigenous Studies is going to increase their knowledge about Indigenous people, the ways of learning, the ways of knowing, the ways of seeing Indigenous perspectives, and it's interdisciplinary. We're examining Indigenous content in so many contexts, in Canadian studies, in women and gender studies, in visual and material culture, in community engaged learning, in history, etc., etc. A lot of our people are cross-appointed, and now we have 3 Indigenous scholars, and we're looking at getting one more very soon. And these people contribute so much to our community, our Indigenous community, and if we're truly serious about decolonizing and indigenizing our community and our campus, then these are the people to lead us, and we are going to listen to them. And this Indigenous Studies minor is just the beginning. This is going to grow into something much, much bigger. Next, I have Museum and Curatorial Studies. This comes from the Department of Fine Arts. Here we're learning about arts and culture management, museum education, curating, critical writing, repatriation studies, particularly of Indigenous artifacts, archives, and museum and gallery practicums. So these people are able to go out and be in the actual museums and in the actual galleries doing the work. And that's something that the Fine Arts Department is able to provide for these students. And there are a number of jobs, obviously, that I've just mentioned that are available to people taking this kind of course of study at Mount Allison. And it's a minor at this point within that faculty of, or sorry, the Department of Fine Arts. And we have screen studies and popular culture. This has been exploding. Students asked for it. We started it. Dr. Sarah Fanning in the drama department started this minor. And these students are studying film and gaining an understanding of all screen media, its genre, its style, its mode, and discovering how these mediums affect us. We develop critical thinking skills regarding pop culture and media, and Lord knows, right now we need more people in the world with a discerning ear and a discerning eye when it comes to popular culture and media. So this is a minor that I think is also growing very quickly. We have visual and material culture studies. This one has exploded beyond my wildest imagination. This program started as a minor and quickly blossomed or boomed into a major with an honors and a minor, and there are a couple certificates that go with it. It's the examination of images, objects, spaces, through the lenses of things like textiles, archaeology, fine arts, architecture, maps, how these things shape culture, societies in our own world. They're very popular, and the jobs that come out of these, anything from communications, media relations, journalism, publishing, tourism, marketing, advertising, government, not-for-profit, leadership, so many possibilities that one can have. And one of the biggest things to really think about when it comes to this particular department is that it's not your regular discipline. It's very, very interdisciplinarily driven. And the fact that many of our students that take this are able to have assessments that aren't normal assessments that we might have. So there are lots of teachers who are teaching in a style that is very experiential in nature. So we have assessments that are not necessarily tests and sitting down and exams and things like that. So this is a brilliant program for people who are not necessarily neurotypical. So people who are just outside of that neurotypical spectrum love this kind of stuff, and this is the student that we want to attract into something of this nature. This program is brilliant, and I'm super excited by it. All right, so we'll go on to the next program, and that is Women and Gender Studies. This had been a minor for a while, and then it became a major, of course, due to interest in student participation and student enrollment. This is another one of those interdisciplinary programs. It has a focus on anti-racism, feminist theory, queer and trans studies, and social justice, of course. The faculty are appointed faculty from commerce, Canadian studies, sociology, and geography and environment. And so all those people teach into the women and gender studies. So you can really see how you can have feminist theory and anti-racism theory and queer and trans studies from such a variety of perspectives. And it makes a lot of sense when you think about the fact that women and gender studies really does pervade all areas of discipline. And it raises those focal points through all of those lenses. And these folks are our real social justice warriors. You want to have them on your side, and you want that side to be on the side of social justice. They are fantastic people, and they teach fantastic students who go out and make the world a much better place. The Pierre Lassonde School of Fine Arts, we've added this in just to sort of give you an understanding or give you the news that Pierre Lassonde donated a very large sum of money, and to the point where we named the School of Fine Arts after him. And this money is used for so many enriching experiences for the students, from entrance scholarships to upper year scholarships, in all of the areas of fine arts. So fine arts, art history, and museum and curatorial studies. These are paid art internships where folks can go out and intern in sometimes museums or galleries or studios, installation, folks who make up installations and things like that. And those are paid, those internships. That's fantastic hands-on work. And we also have an artist in residence program where the students are able to work with the person who's actually here at the school and able to work on different skills. And it's always nice to see an outside perspective when you've been working with a group of people for a while, and to hear what's happening in the world at large in that moment too, because these folks are usually working artists that will come in and talk to the students and work with the students, and then they're gone after a year or so. So that's the Pierre Lassonde School of Fine Arts. We're very thankful to Pierre for his generous donation. This one I find very personally exciting. This joint major in music and computer science is really new, and it does what it says on the tin here. It's music and it's computer science, and that of course makes a lot of sense given that so much of our music now is electronic, and composition often adds electronics into it, and sound design and all these things. We have, using programming software, we have digital audio processing, sound design, development of music programs or application. Grads may move on to sound design, engineering, recording engineers, software design, electronic composition. We have a graduate who sort of kludged together this kind of a degree and is now composing music and designing sounds for video games, and doing it very successfully. So these are the types of jobs that are available for students who do this, and there is a lot of interest from both students who are interested in the computer technology side of things, but also obviously the musical side of things. So a great new program and joint major in music and computer science.
And thank you so much, Dr. St-Pierre. And now we will welcome Dr. Thoms to talk about the Faculty of Science.
Thanks very much. So the Faculty of Science is made up of the biology department, chemistry and biochemistry, math and computer science, physics and psychology. We also include aviation as part of our science group, and I'll talk to you about aviation in a moment. Environmental science, which is housed in geography, but welcomed into the Faculty of Science. And science is now responsible for our newest degree option, the BASC, the Bachelor of Arts and Science. So I'm going to start by telling you about our aviation program. Aviation is one of our most popular programs. We started in 2008 with a Bachelor of Science in Aviation, and it quickly became extremely popular. We recently added the option to do it as a commerce degree as well. So you can get a Bachelor of Commerce degree with a major in aviation, and that started in 2019. It's a really interesting and innovative degree option, and very popular with students because they graduate with both a university degree and a pilot's license. And so it gives them sort of a great place to start in a whole variety of careers. Students will do the normal 120 credits that they have to do for a university degree. 36 of those are flight training credits that are done at the Moncton Flight College. We collaborate with the Moncton Flight College, and they do the flying part of aviation. And then the students take their remaining courses focusing either on the sciences or commerce here at Mount Allison. The students can go on to become pilots, a whole range of different types of pilots, flight instructors, airport managers, a range of other aviation-related careers. Many of the pilots will start their own business, so the Bachelor of Commerce is a great option for those students. It's a challenging balance because it's a lot of work to get both your pilot's license and a university degree at the same time, but it's so rewarding for the students because there's just so much that they can do with this. And that's the reason why it's become one of our most popular majors. It's also very unique. You can't get this sort of program very many other places. So the students have really flocked to aviation. The next new program I'm going to talk about is actually an old and a new program. It's a very interdisciplinary program combining psychology and biology. It's old because when I first got here in 2000, we had the biopsych program, but it sort of fell by the wayside. And so recently, both the biology and psychology departments have collaborated to bring it back because it's such a great preparation for so many students. It's an interdisciplinary program that focuses on sort of the human aspects of biology and the more biological or neurological aspects of psychology. Students who might otherwise have majored in psych and minored in bio or vice versa now have the option to combine their focus in both of these areas in the places where they intersect. It's a great option for those interested in biological psychology, human biology, medicine, and a number of other related areas. So we have both a major and an honors in biopsychology done as a BSc degree. And then we have one of those embedded undergraduate certificates for students who want to show that they have, some expertise in this area, even if they don't major in biopsych. I'm going to talk to you next about cognitive science, which again is an older program that's been around for a very long time, was also here when I first arrived. So we've had it in its Bachelor of Science form, but we've updated it and added to it because students are really enjoying this program. So we've added an honors option and in fact graduated our first Bachelor of Science cognitive honors student in 2021. And we've also added a Bachelor of Arts option that also has the option to do it as a major or an honors. And we should be graduating our first Bachelor of Arts Cognitive Science honors student at the end of this year. So this is largely an intersection between psychology, philosophy, and computer science, how these different disciplines look at and focus on the mind, mental processing, consciousness, and ask some really interesting questions. As we've seen with a lot of these new interdisciplinary studies, you get different tools and perspectives from different disciplines that allow you to address some really big and important questions. And so cognitive science is one of our new programs that is really starting to grow and blossom. Data science is a new minor that we offer, and we also offer a data science embedded undergraduate certificate. This is something that was developed because it's important. It's important to sort of the world that we're living in. We also recently did a survey from the alumni groups, and this was identified by alumni as this is something that we need to be, skills we need to be giving to our students, knowledge we need to be teaching them. And so we've developed this data science program. This year is the first year we will be teaching all of our data science courses, and they are quite popular. The students are really taking to the courses and realizing there are some fabulous skills and knowledge that they can get from this. Again, a very interdisciplinary study. The courses this year are being taught by faculty in biology, math and computer science, and even our data librarian is helping to teach some of our data science courses. So it's a really important growing area that allows students to get skills that they will need that will help prepare them for their future. Health Studies is the first program that we have in our new degree, the Bachelor of Arts and Science, the BASC degree. And we've created this interdisciplinary health studies program that can be taken as a major or an honors and a minor. And so this program allows students to engage with different aspects of health and wellness: biological, behavioral, social, environmental, ethical, historical, culture, population perspectives. It really gives them a deep grounding in all sorts of aspects of health. The program allows students to focus on 3 different streams. So they can focus on health and equity and diversity, health analysis, or environmental health. So they'll take a number of specifically designed health courses and then take selected courses from other disciplines, complementary disciplines, that allow them to focus on the stream that they're most interested in. So it draws on biology, chemistry, biochemistry, psychology, data science, philosophy, religious studies, women and gender studies, environmental studies, sociology, and all sorts of other disciplines. So students can get a very well-rounded perspective on health and the factors that help, determine health and wellness. It's a great, great option to prepare students for careers in medicine. I would really like a physician who has a well-rounded understanding of health and all of the sort of social things that can impact health and wellness. Great option for people interested in health communication or health promotion, social work or counseling, health law, doing advocacy work or public policy work. It really gives them a great background in a fully developed idea of health. One more new program to talk to you about. This is Language and the Mind, available as a minor. And this really came out of students saying, this is a thing that we want. Can you develop this program for us? So it came out of a collaboration between Modern Languages and Literatures and psychology. And in response to student demand. Again, you've got this cross-disciplinary study of language, looking at studies in psychology, linguistics, and modern languages. It's a great preparation for students who want careers in speech-language pathology. We had a number of students going on to do their master's in speech-language pathology saying, we want this as a minor, and so we created it for them. But it's also a fabulous option for those interested in psychology or teaching, someone who might want to be an interpreter, a language instructor. So it's a great basis, and it's also just super interesting to people who love language and want to learn more about language from those multiple perspectives. So this is one of our new minors.
This is just basically the list of some of these certificates that I was talking about earlier. You can see they're small in terms of the credit requirements, minimum of 12 and maximum of 18. So they're not standalone credentials, as I said before. You wouldn't come to Mount A just to do one of these, but you can include them in your degree program. So you can see the range of different things that we're offering. And you can imagine really interesting combinations of programs that you could do to include these certificates. Imagine a computer science program, for example, with something like biopsychology and what you might be able to do with that when you leave Mount Allison. Or if you can imagine something like mathematics and foundations of health, and maybe go on to study epidemiology or something like that. It's really interesting to see what the way students can combine these things and kind of chase different areas of interest that they might have, explore different things. So again, these are really, I think, advantageous things that Mount Allison has. Not a lot of universities have these kind of embedded certificates, and a lot of students are taking advantage of these. And for those of you I see in the chat who are talking about you wish you could come back to take courses at Mount A, we are working on something. We're working on building up a new distance education, lifelong learning, extension learning program at Mount Allison that would allow you to take a course either in person or online, or maybe even at a remote location to start to participate in some of these exciting new things that we're doing. So stay tuned for that.
Thank you so much, Jeff and Vicki and Jennifer. Before I pass it off to Kutai, the Director of Admissions, for some closing comments, we do have a bit of time for questions. And I see that Jennifer Henderson had her hand up. So Jen, why don't you unmute yourself and ask the question?
Thank you very much, Carol. It's actually a good segue to recruitment, and I don't know if I'm kind of jumping the gun with the question or not, but I'm wondering what sort of interest these programs is generating for either students that have just started their journey at Mount Allison or students that are looking to come to a university. Is there a big, I know folks on campus are excited about them, but what about actually getting people onto campus and retaining them?
Who would like to take that?
Jeff, do you want to take it or do you want me to take that?
Sounds like a you question, because I maybe, and I'll maybe fill in afterwards if I think I need to, but I doubt I will.
Okay. Thanks.
There's definitely, we're seeing additional net new applications generated by some of these programs, such as health studies. Although these are new programs, so they do take a little while to spool up as we explain what they can do for the prospective students and their education plans or their career plans. And furthermore, this gives students a better understanding of different combinations that they can do at the university as well. So we're definitely seeing a different group of students who were probably not thinking about Mount Allison, but now actually are attracted to us because we have things like health studies, because we have like things like cognitive science and so on and so forth. So there's definitely some positive movement happening in that regard.
Maybe I'll just follow up just to say, I like that question, Jenny, because one of the reasons that we are having this session with you all is to try to get our really engaged alumni, and Mount Allison has such a fantastic resource of alumni, more information about some of the things that we're doing so you can spread the word. We have been meeting with the incoming students and asking them, how did you find out about Mount Allison? And it's impressive the number of students who reported that they have an uncle who went here, or a friend who went there, or an uncle's friend who went here, and they heard about it from somebody who actually went here. So the word of mouth from alumni is really, really powerful for recruitment, and that's why we want to spread the word on some of the exciting things that we're doing.
Cool.
And one last thing, I guess, to add on to what Jeff said, is that these programs were created in conjunction with quote unquote market research, and looking at emerging trends with the grade 9s and other students, and what we can do to serve those groups with their changing interests, and then working with our faculties to come up with how can Mount Allison answer these emerging trends in future student recruitment, because we need to basically look a couple of years down the road to be proactive with our planning to be prepared for the new coming students and their changing needs.
Awesome. I have a few other nerdy questions that I'll put in the chat, but I see that there's other hands that are raised, so I'll defer and write them in the chat. Thanks.
I'll also take this opportunity to invite all of you, if you do know a prospective student, the Alumni Office has a wonderful program. Any alumnus can submit a prospective student's name for any reason. If they want the student to receive information from Kutai's office, if they want the student to hear more about our programs, if the student is applying, or the high school students applying. And what we do is we have two prizes, $1,000 prizes. So all domestic students who are referred by an alumnus, if they attend Mount Allison, have their name put into a draw and win $1,000 bursary from the Alumni Office. Same thing with international students. So if you know any international students, so please don't be afraid to participate in that program. It's very simple, simple form to fill out. So we encourage you to do that. And we have a question from Tom.
Thanks, Carol. Just quick question, and it really fits in well with what we've been discussing. I'm an alumnus, but it was 40 years ago, and I really am not up to full speed with what we're being shown here this evening. So, what can I, as an alum, do as far as talking about it? I mean, let's face it, I was at Mount A more than a generation ago. So my experience is going to be much different than what they have. But what sort of things can we talk about, or would you like us to encourage when we're doing our sales pitch if I can call it that, for Mount A.
Okay, well, I think we probably all of us have a little something to say, so we'll just go around. I would suggest the program I just talked about, just put their name in. Katai's team is fantastic, and they're going to go in and do all that kind of detailed things. Students, prospective students love to hear your stories. They love to hear your enthusiasm and how this place has impacted you. It's going to be a different experience for them if they choose to come to Mount Allison, but they want that experience, that kind of transformative experience that our alumni have had. So I'm going to go to Katai and Jeff.
Sure. No, I totally agree with Carol. There are tons of information available, both, videos, static information on our website. As soon as we can capture the contact information and the interest of the student, we'll be able to customize a communication journey or a student journey for them from the moment of first meeting all the way to matriculation and registration to courses. But what you can do as an alumni, doesn't matter when you graduated from Mount Allison University, talking about your experiences, talking about how Mount Allison really shaped your personality or your career or your way of thinking, what you were able to get from your experience and how you use those, and really identifying why a small size university with interdisciplinary programs can really benefit the students. One of our biggest challenges is that when we are out doing, more than 400 school visits, hundreds of fairs, we will only get about 10 to 15 seconds with each prospective student to talk to them, really to capture them. But when you're talking to them, you will have a little bit more time, and that captive audience would be great for us because you'll be able to pass on why a small liberal arts, liberal education institution in rural New Brunswick can be the best thing for them. So that's the best thing you can do for us.
Maybe I'll just build on that. Thanks, Katai. That one of the things that I think people who went to university in a previous millennium, like most of us did, maybe don't realize today is that this style of university isn't ubiquitous in the country anymore. I mean, you find small liberal arts universities and colleges in the States, but in Canada, there's very, very few of us left. And consequently, we're not all that well known in terms of what this kind of institution can offer anymore. And so when we ask students, when they came to Mount Allison, what other universities were on your list? You'd expect that they would be saying, well, be us in Acadia or us in St. FX, but they're all over the map. They said, well, it's between you and UBC, or you and Queens, or you and McGill. And it's a little mystifying, and I'm glad we got them because we can easily differentiate between what we can offer and what a UBC can offer for a first-year undergraduate. But they may not know what this kind of experience can really give them versus what they would get in a large university as an undergraduate student. So our alumni who have experienced that, you may think that's a well-known thing, but it really isn't. So more information that you can kind of get out there about how this experience is quite different and distinctive in this country, I think is important.
Go ahead, Jeff.
Can I add to that? That I would agree 100%. And so you say things have changed, and we certainly have new and innovative programs we're trying to adapt, we're adapting to the needs of modern students, but some things haven't changed. We have a tight community. We have a small community. We have a lot of interaction between faculty members and students, and they get a lot of experiences here that they wouldn't necessarily get at another institution, much like all of our alumni did, those really hands-on experiential research-based opportunities that they might not get somewhere else. And so highlighting those benefits that have continued on over the years, I think is helpful too.
Thank you so much. Tom, I hope that helped. And anytime you want to discuss this with me or someone from Katai's office, just let us know. We're happy to chat. We have time for one more question, and it's in the chat. Good question from Jenny Henderson. How are we measuring success with the programs and certificates? Is it enrollment, student engagement on campus, employment, or graduate school offers? Jeff, go ahead.
I think it might be a little early to be able to answer that at this stage because they're still fairly new. I mean, all of those things are important. At the moment, they're not, they're not enrollment drivers specifically, although they may be once it gets out that we do these kinds of things. But certainly the student engagement has been a big piece of it. The fact that we have, I mean, Jennifer can tell you the number of students who graduated with these certificates and which ones are kind of popular. So and there's a retention piece of that as well, right? If a student can see that they can get, if they can stay to finish their degree and they can get more than one credential, then they might do that. So all these things kind of together, I think, create a better experience for the students, and it likely would affect their employment or their graduate school offers, but it's a little early right now to be able to make that determination.
Yeah, and there's also a case to be made for the things that are not measurable. Like one of the reasons that we have some of these new programs is that our departments are taking a really hard look at what the future of their field is and where the growth is in their field. And so those types of amendments to programs or new programs because of those kinds of hard looks are only going to benefit the students. But I mean, how do you exactly measure that? Maybe grad schools, but all of it is just such a huge benefit to our students and the skills that they are gathering as they go through Mount Allison. So that's one thing to consider. And obviously, that's going to be my answer coming from an arts background and not the economics background. But certainly, that's something to consider as well.
Thank you. Okay, so Kutai, some closing comments before we wish everyone a good night.
Yeah, certainly. So I'm very happy to be talking to our great alumni because, as I mentioned earlier, you are the embodiment of what Mount Allison can do for our prospective students. So a couple of things you can do for us, as Carol mentioned, we do have a means to capture student information on our website. So if you have any students, or if you know of a student, you can also contact us and we'll be able to send them a communication piece to invite them to our website or our CRM system to get in contact with them, because it does take a certain level of meaningful conversation to be able to explain to students what Mount Allison is, what we can do for them. So we're here to do that. Fall 2023 application is open right now. We are receiving applications for all of our programs from all around the world, and knock on wood, things are looking good. The one thing that I do want to highlight is that we do have some one of our major residences in repair right now. It's getting renovated, Harper. So for the next 2 intakes, we're going to have less available rooms on campus than previous years. So if you have any prospective students in grade 12, I would strongly recommend them to apply early, accept their offer, and apply for residence, just so that we can make sure that they will have some housing on campus. And also, we want to hear your accomplishments and what you're doing, especially if you're working in the secondary school environment. We would love to identify those alumni and send them some care packages so that you'll be able to represent Mount Allison University. So if you are interested in that, please let Carl know and we'll be able to get something out to you. Other than that, just keep up doing what you're doing, and we're looking forward to working with you to bring some new students to the university.
Wonderful. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to our speakers and to everyone behind the screen who made all those polls happen. It's just been a pleasure. The session is being recorded, and we will be posting it so that those of you who couldn't attend they don't get tested. That's the only thing. It's too bad. Anyhow, take good care, everyone. We wish you a good evening.